What's going on YouTube? In this video I want to share with you how we finally paid off $40,000 of debt. And it was definitely not easy at times with a lot of difficult moments. But the reason I'm showing you this video is so hopefully you can get inspired and start living debt-free while building your financial future in the same time. Now before I jump to this video, just a quick disclaimer. This video is not a financial advice. I'm just simply sharing my experience and what worked for me. However, your financial situation is different from mine and you should personalize a specific plan that is gonna work the best for you. Alright, now back to the video. So to be honest with you, me and my wife, we were living in debt for a very long time. First it was few $1,000s debt, then 10, 20, 30, and finally, unfortunately, we went to $40,000 of debt. And obviously, I'm not talking about the mortgage. We still have the monthly house payments, but I'm referring to the debt on the credit cards. And that situation not only was bad financially, with pretty much zero room to breathe, we were living paycheck to paycheck at that time, but also because of it, it started to put some pressure on my relationship with my wife. And overall, this was not a good feeling to have this debt, so I knew I had to do something. So finally, and I don't know why I waited so long, I literally took the calculator to my hands and basically counted all the interest that we were paying on the credit cards, and the interest only from this $40,000 debt was about $730. I was literally stunned, but I'm glad I actually checked that because this was the exact moment when our credit cards debt became my #1 enemy. And I'm not even joking you. I went on my phone, click each credit card application that time, and I pretty much said to the phone looking at each credit card account, you are done and I'm not gonna deal with you no more. Yeah, I know it's weird, but I actually did that. So now the way I started to pay off the debt was from the smaller cards first, meaning I would focus on the smaller card balances first and pay them off, and then gradually tackle the bigger cards. There is different strategies to do this, because I know technically at least it would be wiser to pay off the higher interest credit cards first. However, I thought I'm gonna tackle the smaller debt first, and I'm actually glad I did that, because I remember when I paid off the first credit card off, which was like $1,200, that actually motivated me and my wife to start to pay the second card debt. And these first two cards were relatively easy to pay off. They had small balances, but then finally when we started to pay these bigger cards, I definitely knew this is gonna be harder to tackle and it's gonna be longer process too. So to stay motivated, obviously I was checking the statements and seeing the debt being reduced and the balance shrinking as much as possible, of course. Not every time we could pay a lot of debt. There were some moments when we even had to pause the paying of the debt because, for example, I had to pay quarterly taxes from my business, but every time we got some money coming in, whether from my wife's job or from my business, of course, I would try to send additional payments towards the cards. And even though the payment was already made on that card, it didn't matter. We just wanted to send extra payments, so that way the balances keep reducing even little by little. And I also started to look at the statements more and more often, and the thing that kept me motivated was, that the interest on the credit cards would reduce too. And I tried to make this picture that sooner or later, this $730 that we're paying for the interest is gonna be free money, if you will. Obviously the money is not free, it's just the interest we're not gonna pay. But I knew when that interest goes to zero, and obviously the entire credit card debt with it, we're gonna be able to finally perhaps save some money, and even more importantly, don't literally put the money to the trash can, because for me paying the interest on the credit cards is literally like you would open the garbage can and just dispose the money to the garbage. Now obviously this took some time with a lot of gaps between, and we also changed a couple of habits. For example, before we would just rent movies all the time, and I know if the movie is new, it's usually only $5 or $6 to rent, so it doesn't really sound like it's that much money or anything. But we started to watch the movies for free. We also have the Netflix account, so we would watch a lot of movies in there. And with this entire experience, I'm definitely more cautious right now. I'm always trying to see the bigger picture, and I definitely don't want to go to any more debt right now. So at least we reduce some spending, and in the same time we save first few $1,000s. So we became debt free, at least from the credit cards, in August 2023. And one thing is for sure, I stay away from the debt as far as possible. So thank you for letting me share my story. Hopefully this will inspire you to become debt free too. And make sure to click this video next. There is a lot of good info in it too. And thank you for watching.